Have you ever felt confused at a restaurant and didn't know what to say in English? Watch until the end and discover simple phrases you can use right away. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Let's get started.
Hi, Liam. I've been thinking about something and I feel a bit nervous about it. Can I ask you something?
Of course, Emma. Feel free to ask anything. I'm here to help.
How can I order food in English without feeling nervous or confused?
You can do it by learning simple, natural phrases and focusing on communication instead of perfection.
Really? Is it possible to sound natural even if my English is not perfect?
Yes, because people care more about understanding you than about perfect grammar.
Wow, that makes me feel better. But what should I say first when I arrive at a restaurant?
You can start very simply with, "Hi, can I get a table?" Or, "Hi, I'd like a table for two."
Interesting. And what if I'm alone? Is it different?
You can just say, "Table for one, please," and that sounds completely natural.
That's simple, but I'd always worry about sounding polite, right?
Yes, and adding "please" or using "I'd like" makes your sentence sound more polite and friendly.
Really? So small words can make a big difference?
Exactly. Those small details help you sound more natural and respectful.
Wow. And what happens after I sit down? What do I say next?
You can say, "Can I see the menu?" Or just wait and say thanks when they give it to you.
Interesting. So I don't need to speak all the time.
Yes, sometimes listening and reacting naturally is enough.
Right. And what if I need more time to choose?
You can say, "I need a minute," or "I'm still deciding."
I like that. It sounds relaxed.
Natural English is usually relaxed and simple.
Really? And what if I want to ask for a recommendation?
You can say, "What do you recommend?" Or, "What's good here?"
Wow, that sounds very natural, right?
Sure, and it also helps you start a real conversation.
Interesting. And when I'm ready, how do I order?
You can say, "I'll have the pasta," or "Can I get the burger, please?"
That sounds easy to remember.
Exactly. Simple patterns are easier to use in real situations.
Really? So I don't need long sentences at all?
No, short and clear sentences are the best choice in most cases.
Wow, I feel like this is much easier than I thought, you see?
Sure, and that's how you start building real confidence.
Is "I'd like" better than "I want"?
Yes, because "I'd like" sounds more polite and natural in most situations.
Wow, I didn't know that. So saying "I want a pizza" sounds strange?
It's not wrong, but it can sound too direct or even a bit rude depending on the situation.
Right. So what's an example of formal versus natural English?
A formal sentence would be, "I would like to request a hamburger," while a natural one is, "Can I get a burger?"
Wow, the second one is much simpler, right?
Exactly, and that's how native speakers usually talk.
Interesting. But what happens when I overthink every sentence?
Overthinking creates hesitation, which makes your speech slower and less confident.
Really? So thinking too much is actually a problem?
Yes, because speaking is a skill that needs flow, not perfection.
That explains why I pause so much when I speak.
Sure, and using chunks helps you reduce those pauses.
Wow, so if I memorize some common phrases, I can speak more naturally?
Yes, and your brain will start using them automatically over time.
Interesting. Can you give me some basic phrases for ordering food?
Sure, you can use, "Can I see the menu?" "What do you recommend?" And "I'll have this one."
Right. And what if I don't understand something the waiter says?
You can say, "Sorry, can you repeat that?" Or, "Sorry, I didn't catch that."
Wow, those are simple but very useful, right?
Exactly, and they help you stay in the conversation instead of feeling lost.
Interesting. But what about pronunciation? Does it matter a lot?
Pronunciation matters for clarity, but you don't need to sound perfect, just understandable.
Really? So having an accent is okay?
Yes, everyone has an accent, and communication is the real goal.
Huh, that's good to hear, because I always worry about my accent.
That worry often blocks confidence, and confidence is more important than perfection.
Wow, so confidence is actually the key to speaking well?
Exactly. Confidence helps you speak more naturally and take risks.
Interesting. But how can I build confidence when ordering food?
You can practice simple dialogues and repeat common phrases until they feel natural.
Right, so repetition helps my brain learn faster?
Yes, repetition creates automatic responses, which reduce the need to think too much.
Wow, so it's like training my brain to react quickly.
Yes, just like learning a sport or a musical instrument.
Really? So I don't need complicated sentences at all?
No, and here's a practical rule. Use short patterns like can I get, I'll have, and could I have.
Exactly. Interesting. So these patterns work for almost any food?
Yes, for example, can I get a coffee, I'll have the chicken, and could I have a salad?
Right. And what if I want to add something to my order?
You can say, can I add fries, or can I get extra cheese?
Wow, that's very useful. And what if I want to remove something?
You can say, no onions, please, or can I get this without sauce?
That sounds very practical for real situations.
Exactly. These small adjustments are very common in everyday orders.
Really? And what if I don't understand the menu?
You can say, what is this? Or what comes with this?
Interesting. So I can ask directly and simply?
Yes, clear and simple questions work best.
Right. And what if I want to confirm my order?
You can say, so that's a burger and a soda, right?
Wow, that helps avoid mistakes, right?
Exactly. Confirming is a very natural habit.
Interesting. And what if I want to order drinks first?
You can say, can we start with drinks? Or can I get a water first?
Aha, I like that. It sounds very natural.
Exactly. That's how real conversations flow.
Really? And what if I'm in a hurry?
You can say, I'm in a bit of a hurry, or can I get this quickly?
Wow, that's very direct and useful.
Sure, and people will understand your situation immediately.
Interesting. So instead of worrying about mistakes, I should focus on these patterns.
Yes, because these patterns solve real problems in real situations.
Really? Does speaking out loud make a big difference?
Yes, because speaking activates your brain differently than just thinking.
Wow, I usually only study silently.
That's common, but speaking practice is essential for fluency.
Interesting. So I need to train my mouth, not just my mind.
Exactly, because speaking is a physical skill as well.
Right, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, and the more you practice, the easier it becomes.
So how can I respond naturally when the waiter asks me questions?
You can keep your answers short and simple, like, just water please, or that's all, thanks.
Interesting. What if the waiter asks, are you ready to order?
You can say, yes, I'll have the chicken, or not yet, I need a minute.
I need a minute sounds very useful. But do people actually take a long time to decide?
Not usually, especially in the US. People tend to decide quickly because the culture values efficiency. Exactly.
Really? So meals are usually faster there?
Yes, especially on weekdays. People often order, eat, and leave without spending too much time.
Interesting. So it's better to be ready to order.
Exactly. Being ready helps the interaction flow smoothly and naturally.
Right. And what if I want to change something in my order?
You can say, can I get this without onions? Or can I change the side?
Wow, that sounds very practical.
Exactly. Quick and clear requests match the fast pace of service.
Interesting. What if I don't know the name of the dish?
You can point and say, can I get this one? Or I'll have this.
That's very helpful for beginners.
Sure. Simple communication works even in fast situations.
Really? What if something goes wrong with my order?
You can say, "Sorry, this isn't what I ordered," or "I think there's a mistake."
Wow, that sounds polite and clear at the same time.
Yes, being polite and direct helps solve problems quickly.
Interesting. What if I want to pay the bill?
You can say, "Can I get the bill, please?" or simply, "Check, please."
Right, and what if I want to split the bill?
You can say, "Can we split the bill?" or "We'll pay separately."
I always wondered how to say that.
Exactly. And in many places, people handle this quickly and move on.
Really? What if I want to take the food home?
You can say, "Can I get this to go?" or "Can I take this away?"
Wow, I've heard to go before. Interesting.
Sure, it's very common in American English.
Interesting. What's the difference between formal and natural in these cases?
Formal would be, "May I have the bill?" while natural is, "Can I get the bill?"
Right, so natural English sounds more relaxed, right?
Exactly. And that's what you want in most conversations.
I feel like I've been trying too hard to sound perfect.
Exactly. And that effort often creates more stress than progress.
Wow, that explains a lot about my experience.
Exactly. And now you can change your approach.
Interesting. When I go to a cafe, I see so many options. How do I choose the right coffee?
A simple way is to know the basics like drip coffee, Americano, espresso, latte, and cappuccino. Exactly.
Really? What is drip coffee?
It's the most common one, usually served in a big cup and kept hot, and they may ask if you want regular or decaf.
Wow, so regular means with caffeine?
Right. And decaf means without caffeine.
Interesting. And what is an Americano?
It's espresso with hot water, so it's stronger than drip coffee but smoother than pure espresso.
And espresso is the really strong one, right?
Yes, it's a small and concentrated coffee, and you can order a single or double shot.
Wow, and what about a latte?
A latte is espresso with a lot of milk, so it's smoother and lighter.
Interesting. That sounds like something I would like.
Exactly, and you can add flavors like vanilla or caramel.
Really? And what is a cappuccino?
It has less milk and more foam than a latte, so the coffee taste is stronger.
So it's a bit more intense?
Yes, but still balanced.
Interesting. And what if I want something sweet?
You can order a mocha, which is coffee with chocolate and milk.
Wow, that sounds delicious, right?
Exactly. It's very popular for people who like sweet drinks.
Interesting. And what about cold drinks?
You can say, "I'll have an iced coffee," or "I'll have a cold brew."
Really? What's the difference?
Cold brew is smoother and less acidic because it's made slowly with cold water.
And what about those drinks that look like milkshakes?
That's usually a frappuccino, blended with ice, milk, and flavors.
Wow, now I understand the menu much better, you see.
Exactly. And knowing these options makes ordering much easier and more natural.
Right, so I don't need to invent sentences all the time.
Yes, you reuse what already works.
That makes learning much easier.
Exactly. And more enjoyable too.
Really? How can I practice this daily?
You can repeat phrases, watch real conversations, and speak out loud every day.
I'm starting to feel more confident already.
Sure. And that confidence will keep growing.
Really? What should I remember in a real situation?
Remember to stay calm, use simple phrases, and focus on communication.
Wow, that sounds like a simple plan.
Exactly. Simple plans work best in real life.
Interesting. So if I forget something, what should I do?
You can pause, smile, and use a simpler phrase.
Right, so I don't need to panic.
Exactly. Staying calm keeps the conversation going.
I like that. It feels more human.
Exactly. Communication is about connection, not perfection.
So what's the most important thing I learned today?
Keep your English simple, clear, and focused on real communication.
That makes sense. Ordering food feels easy because I know what to say.
Exactly, because the situation is predictable and the phrases are familiar.
But conversations aren't always like that, right?
Right. In real life, you often need to express what you feel, not just what you want.
Wow, that sounds a bit more challenging.
It can feel that way, because now you're sharing ideas and emotions.
So it's not just about ordering or asking for things anymore.
Exactly. It's about saying things like how you feel, what you think, and how you react.
Interesting, like saying if I'm happy, stressed, or confused?
Exactly. And doing that naturally is the next step in your English.
I see. So this is where real communication starts, right?
Exactly. And that's what we're going to explore next, how to talk about your feelings in English.
See you there.
Bye.